Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a stack of some really high stakes sources, key reports, statistical breakdowns, and diving deep into a crisis that is, it's completely dominating the sports world.
It really is. We're focusing on the catastrophic collapse of offense up in Toronto.
And it's all centered around one person, really. A generational talent, Austin Matthews.
And this deep dive is, I think, really necessary because what we're seeing goes so far beyond just a typical mid-season slump.
Right. It's one thing to watch a superstar struggle, and there's an emotional weight to that, for sure.
But the analysis we've synthesized for you today, it suggests the disease isn't the player. It's the fundamental system that's been built around him, or maybe against him.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're going to try and cut through the headlines, the emotional fan reactions to really understand the core strategic conflict here.
How is it possible that a player who was threatening historic goal-scoring records just, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, not that long ago.
Is now playing, by some metrics, below replacement level? And why do the sources we've reviewed argue that this failure is, entirely an organizational self-sabotage?
We're going to dissect those claims, the ones that link Matthews' struggles, not to effort, not to fatigue, but to this profound systemic mismatch between the player and the coaching philosophy.
We're really looking for that organizational miscalculation that led them to this point.
Okay, let's unpack this.
And I think we have to start with the raw numbers because they're just staggering.
You really can't look away. It's a precipitous, jaw-dropping fall from grace.
Think about the context here. Austin Matthews scored 69 goals 2 seasons ago. That's almost mythical in the modern NHL.
It's a transcendent number.
It is. And the analysis we're looking at points out that his current production rate is so diminished that, and this is a direct quote, it would make a third-line center blush.
Wow. That's an almost unbelievable drop-off. And when you see a decline like this, the immediate impulse is to look for the obvious. Right?
Is he hurt?
Exactly. Is there a hidden injury? Is he battling something off the ice? But the information we're distilling for you suggests those are just distractions. The problem is structural.
And yet the organization, they did just act. They fired the power play coach, Marc Savard.
Which, on the surface, seems like they're trying to address the lack of scoring.
But the source material, especially this really exhaustive analysis from The Athletic, views that move as pure scapegoating.
It feels like a very common corporate maneuver, doesn't it? When the big strategy is failing, you get rid of a subordinate.
Right.
You fire the power play guy to show the public you're taking action, but you don't touch the core decision makers.
Precisely. They're trying to fix a symptom, the struggling power play, when the actual disease is the entire strategic philosophy, the 5-on-5 play.
So they've addressed the tip of the iceberg.
What's fascinating here is they've addressed the tip of the iceberg, while the elephant in the room, which is that fundamental system, remains completely untouched. It's a desperate deflection that just ignores this massive waste of elite talent happening every single night.
And that waste, it leads us directly into the real meat of this, the clash of coaching philosophies. To understand the pain they're in now, we have to look back at, what seems like the glory days. The Sheldon Keefe era.
Yeah, the key philosophy was, it was built explicitly to maximize the offensive firepower of that highly skilled core.
Matthews, Marner, Nylander.
All of them. It was you could call it a laissez-faire approach. High puck possession, super creative zone entries, and just giving those guys the freedom to dictate the game through pure skill.
And it worked. Offensively, they were magnificent. Matthews was controlling games not just by scoring, but by making sure the puck was always on the stick of Toronto's best players in the most dangerous areas.
That freedom maximized their value, even if, the system got criticized for defensive lapses.
Especially in the postseason. That was always the knock.
Of course. But then comes the pivot point, the arrival of Craig Berube. And look, we absolutely have to acknowledge his pedigree.
Stanley Cup champion.
He won with the St. Louis Blues in 2019. He has proven he can lead a team to the ultimate prize.
Okay, but
yeah,
if Berube is a proven winner who brings accountability and toughness, isn't there an argument that this team, a team that has repeatedly failed in the playoffs, needed exactly that, a dose of that blue-collar work ethic?
Yeah, that is the exact question management asked themselves. And the analysis we're looking at suggests the answer they came up with was, frankly, catastrophic.
How so?
Berube's system, the one that relies on toughness and grinding. It's described in our sources as a relic from another era, specifically the 1980s. Yeah, it's built on a heavy dump and chase style. Clog up the neutral zone, force turnovers, win battles in the corners.
So why does that archaic system just completely destroy Austin Matthews' game?
It's purely a personnel mismatch. Matthews isn't a grinder. He's not a pick retriever. He's a carrier. His genius is in controlled zone entries, using his speed, his deception to gain the blue line and then use that lightning quick shot off the rush.
So forcing him to dump the puck into the corner.
And then go engage in these grueling physical board battles. It actively moves him away from the very spots on the ice where he is the most dangerous player on the planet.
Here's where it gets really interesting. One of our sources uses this brilliant analogy. It says it's like asking a Formula One car to compete in a demolition derby.
That's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect. The car can participate, but you are completely wasting everything that makes it special.
Not only wasting its speed, but you're just beating it up.
You're increasing the physical toll, absolutely. Matthews is constantly fighting along the boards, which just drains his energy for those high-leverage scoring chances. And the stats we reviewed confirm it.
What do they show?
His controlled zone entry metrics have absolutely plummeted under this new system. He is no longer getting the puck into the offensive zone with the speed and possession he needs to use his primary weapon, his shot.
It's just wild to think about. You pay a player over $13 million a year because he's one of the best goal scorers in the world, and then you tell him, hey, stop using the skill we're paying you $13 million for.
The whole organization is paying a premium price for a demolition derby car. It makes no sense. The game has evolved. Modern Cup winners, you look at a team like Colorado under Jared Bednar, they prove you can have defensive accountability while rewarding speed and creativity.
Toronto seems to be forcing an identity onto its players that is just completely counterproductive. And now let's pivot. Because this systemic failure, it didn't happen in a vacuum. It was made so much worse by the loss of Mitch Marner. It just created a perfect storm.
Yeah, that chemistry between Marner and Matthews was, as one source describes it, telepathic.
You could see it on the ice.
Oh, absolutely. Marner wasn't just a point producer. He was Matthews' primary space creator. He'd draw defenders, carry the puck through the neutral zone, and then feed Matthews right in his wheelhouse. Losing him was always going to hurt.
Yeah.
That was unavoidable.
So if your number one playmaker is gone, you'd think the strategy would be to give Matthews more freedom to create on his own.
You would think.
Instead, they combined the loss of Marner with this restrictive, rigid structure under Berube. The analysis says this created a perfect storm of offensive futility.
The source material calls it organizational malpractice. Under Keefe, Matthews could read the defense, react creatively. Under Berube, player movement is dictated by these rigid rules.
It's almost paint by numbers hockey.
That's the other analogy they use. It's like asking Picasso to paint by numbers. For a highly creative, read and react player like Matthews, that rigidity is, and I quote, suffocating.
And this brings us right back to the management. The decision to hire Berube, it feels like it was driven by an emotional reaction to past playoff failures, not a clear-eyed look at the roster they actually have.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, management saw Berube's championship ring and the accountability he brought to St. Louis, and they just tried to transplant it.
But they forgot a crucial detail.
The most crucial detail. Berube